And again, it's that fine line of like, do they know what it is? Are they still in their time where they've had no access to something that resembles that, something as complex like a teddy bear, or again, we try to rationalize it. We're like, well, they might know what it is because they're going to think it's a soft, cute toy, something. But again, if that would be like us going to a country we've never been in our lives, and they show us something that we have no
No
context
idea
for,
what it is. Yeah.
and we're like, I don't know what that is, right? Because we have had no experience with it. So I think that too also is important when you're doing an investigation, and when you're attempting to try to figure out, are they able to communicate with us, do they understand what's happening in the here and now, or are they tied to their own time? And again, I guess it's just a individual experience, right? It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe
There appears to be there's no answer yet.
no,
As
like
I
there's
say, I wish there was this library put together of everybody's evidence that
well,
we
there
could
you go.
sit
Maybe
down
that's
and go
something.
over everything,
Maybe
and then
that's
you could
something
start.
that we should do,
Yeah.
is create an online archive of people's information. Easy enough for me to set up a website to do that. We could certainly do that, and then we can start putting our own information into it, and people can simply send an email or fill out a form and put whatever and then we can start to compile it into categories as well too, right? So that maybe
Hmm.
then we can start to see where similarities start to overlap. I don't think there's anybody really out there doing that. There might be a
No.
few people who have compiled some things, but they're kind of hoarding it in their basement or their attic or wherever it might be. But there really isn't anything out there. And that,
No.
and it,
As I say, there's so much ego out there among the various paranormal teams that, as I mentioned, well, my evidence is better than yours. It's
yeah. And the thing is
that has
here,
to stop. That and we need to join all of this information together.
right, right. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's very typical though in many things that appear to, lay credence to unattainable things. Right? I mean, the science world's like that too, right? So, people in science who, they've made a discovery, they've made something, and they don't want to share that information with anyone because it's theirs and it's theirs alone, and it's like it's mine, and I don't want to share. And it becomes literally, yeah, an ego thing, right? Because I mean, we all learn from each other. And even in the paranormal world, one paranormal investigator, well, they might be better at what they do in terms of their professionalism. That I will not, I will never discredit that, right? It takes a lot to be very professional in a realm that a lot of people don't believe in.
Yeah.
And so to be credible and to be ethical and to be, yeah, to remain professional, um, ethics comes into it too. There's a lot of ethics. I mean, there's certain ethical things. It's like, again, how do we know if they can interact? Well, let's just say that we start shouting and yelling and being belligerent to a spirit. Do they know what we're saying? Or is it just because our vibrational level has become negative that they're impacted by that? Right. So if we're getting angry or upset or we're yelling at them or something's happening, are they actually aware of what it is that we say? Or is it just that shift in our energy that, like, if that, if they come to us and they're, very negative, or they're very, hateful, or they're the opposite, they're, lovely and you want to be around them. is it the same thing for them? And I would tend to say yes, since they pick up on our energy and possibly, use our
Yeah.
energy as a, a connecting device. But again, it's an interesting topic to raise. And for any folks that are watching, or if you want to just stick a comment in. Honestly, we don't watch this on Facebook while we're doing it. So if you're making comments live while we're doing it, we're actually on the Zoom platform, just because there's too much of a lag on Facebook for us between the Zoom platform and the Facebook platform. So, but I always go back and I read the comments.
We can see the comments afterwards. Yeah.
Yes. So if people are making comments, I'm happy to respond to them within reason, of course. And you know what? If you have something that doesn't jive with what we're saying, we're okay with that too. Like we're not the be all end all of the paranormal world here. We're just doing this because we love what we do. And I think that everybody that contributes is, it's a positive thing, right? It's positive for everyone. And it's especially positive for people who are interested in the subject, who don't have, that person, or they don't have the opportunity because other groups or teams or things don't let them in and don't let them do it. I mean, there's a number of places that do public investigations. Some of those are good, bad, or indifferent. I've been on them. I've bought tickets for them. Some of them are just a free for all, and there's really no investigation going on. It's just people running around doing whatever. There's not a controlled environment. And that can work too. I mean, I've picked up things, even when there's 100 people around me and nothing is controlled. And, but I think the idea is to just, if you're interested, get out there, experience it, and, and then watch or listen or, check
Learn
out
from those who do have the experience.
Yeah, people that do, right? And I mean, I'm always the first person to say, I am happy to learn from somebody else, things that, like, heck, I don't know everything. That's for darn sure. I certainly don't know everything about this, even though I've grown up with this around me all the time. But it doesn't mean that I understand it some days. Some days I don't understand it at all. So
Yeah.
there's
Well, I've had people contact me saying, they want to get into paranormal investigation, but they have no idea how to proceed with it. And I always tell them, yeah, become educated in the field, learn from those who had the experience. And by what I mean by become educated, I don't mean by watching the television programs.
No, those are all edited within an inch of their lives. And,
Yeah.
And I mean, I got to say, I've been on some of those shows, right? So, when we're doing an investigation in real time, it's really happening. It is happening. But the shows get edited because we could be there for 10 hours and only get like two things, right? So, an hour's worth of footage needs to be edited to find, to keep it interesting. But the other thing is too, though, Ines, like saying that though, too, right, is that some groups are not open to new people coming in. They're not open to allowing this. I know that, like I said, when COVID is over and we're able to get back to our thing, I miss our public investigations. Like those were always, I really enjoyed those, right? And I really enjoyed being able to go to a location and open it up for people, especially new people. Lay the ground rules out, within reason. Like I always tell people, if you're afraid, if you are truly petrified, because people do get very scared. Sometimes it's your imagination because you just don't know how to control it and it gets the better of you and you freak out. I always tell people though, if you're really afraid, don't scream, don't run, just, come to one of the people leading you, right? So if you're in a group and people, you're doing a sort of a controlled investigation and something happens and it really freaks you out, don't just scream and, and run. It's like, acknowledge what's happened, say, oh my God, like, because even I sometimes am like, oh, whoa, and and that's okay, right? But it's remember that you're in a controlled setting and there's somebody